Morning everyone, it's episode 16. And I'm starting the week off with these guys. First on the agenda is getting this out the door. I've fixed up the high chair. I've improved on it so these seats or platforms aren't going to break again, and the client's coming later today to pick it up. So let me show you what I've done. This now has a much thicker platform, while I've still managed to keep the thickness of these edges, which can slot into the original grooves in the chair. So it slides in. Once this gets pinched, that little piece of material is never going to break like that. But where it gets really good is now when I push down on here, because of that extra thickness, there's no way this is going to snap off. So I get to give this back to the client today, free of charge. I didn't charge him at all for materials, nothing, because partly this is on my shoulders. And there was a comment on the video regarding people's perception of this type of chair based on the original. In no way was I saying that it was entirely the client's fault. They had good reason to think that it could take the weight of this chair, because the original version of this chair, the original designer, you could sit an adult on that. So in no way was I saying that it was entirely their fault. In the video, I was just saying that because of this thin material, it seemed obvious that it was only for children. All right, that's it for the high chair. This saga is over. All right, quick update. Everything is basically prepped for finish. So everything's been sanded down. All the corners have been rounded. So that's ready to go. I've wondered how long this camera / lens was going to hold on for. I have dropped this lens before, a few weeks back. Obviously it gets a ton of dust, and now when I try and zoom in, it's working. Thanks guys, you fixed my lens. That was stuck a second ago, and it wasn't zooming in. I think it's probably not got too much life left in it. Just a bit of an update on the channel growth. Ever since I made that big change where I got rid of my best performing videos. So the concrete countertop video is gone. And if we look at this graph over 6 months, you can see my subscriber count has basically been sitting below 0 for the last 6 months. This is a weekly count. You can see there were a couple of weeks, like here in December, where it was in the positive, and here's 2 weeks as well. That was when I came back and published my first video back on the channel. But then the rest of it's been pretty dire, except for these last 3 weeks. So this is really exciting. Finally, my channel's come back to progression. So all of this, where people were essentially leaving, and this is what I'm considering the concrete countertop or the DIY crowd that, aren't really a part of where my channel's going. This is all of them leaving. And now I'm starting to see that positive growth because of the people that I'm bringing in. And all of this positive growth, if I change it to the last 90 days, and you look down here, that is the long form video that I did where I took all of my steam bending videos and put them together. So my top 2 performing videos now are learning to steam bend and all you need to know about steam bending. So I've kind of pigeonholed myself now again into I am the steam bending channel, but I think that's close enough to woodworking that it's not going to be too much of a drama. And yeah, as I say, it's that last video that I did. That video is performing really well because it's got a lot of watch time. So YouTube, the algorithm is suggesting it a lot. That's where a lot of my views are coming up from. And you can see that's now, over the last 90 days, 60 subscribers have come from that. Whereas my previous best performing, learning to steam bend wood, is only at footing. So all in all, this is very, very positive signs. And when I start publishing to this channel again in the next few weeks, I'm hoping that it's all gonna be smooth sailing from there. It is Friday, so last day of the week. Yesterday was Anzac Day here in Australia, public holiday, so I didn't do any work. I was looking after the kids and hanging out with the family. So again, a bit of a short week, but I'm hoping to get cracking today. I'm now going to take the lid and just place it on top of the box and put the whole thing in the bottom of the cabinet, take a picture, send it to the client, just to sort of say it's basically done. So really next weekend, I need to start organizing either for the client to collect or for me to deliver. Either way, I'm gonna need someone to come and help me move this thing out of the workshop. I've actually got so much more done today than I was expecting. And what's interesting is that my wife came home early and she's fetched my daughter from school. So I've been able to work all the way up until 5 o'clock. So just those extra 2.5 hours, it's not that I've been able to work for an extra 2.5 hours, but that sort of 2-3 o'clock slump that a lot of people have, I've been able to work through that, and now in the last hour come out and be productive. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Eventually my boy is going to go to school full time. At the moment he's only at daycare 3 days a week, which I don't want to push him more than that, but in 2 years he'll be at school full time, so then I will have all that extra time. And days like today make me realize that when I get to that point, I am going to be a lot more productive. I'm just looking at this now, visualizing what's going to happen when I tip this over, where I'm going to put it, all those kinds of things. Those feet at the bottom are around 40 mil high. These feet are closer to 75. So when I do put the new feet on and then try and stand it upright, between the top of the cabinet and my bearer is 90. I might need to think about finishing this completely, and then it gets laid down, and then it stays like that until it's time to deliver. Because if I try and stand it up again on those feet, I don't want to damage the feet on the concrete floor, especially not tilting the whole unit. That's something to think about, putting any force on those feet. But I'm not going to be able to put anything. I guess I could put a thin piece of plywood underneath them, so that would stop them from being damaged. But am I even going to be able to tilt this up once I get that extra 30 mil added? And that is the end of another week. I feel really good about this one. It's been productive. I'm coming to the end of this very big project, which also feels really good. And there's a chance, I've been going back and forth with someone on something, there's a chance that I may have my next job lined up, which is very exciting considering what I talked about a couple of episodes ago. So thanks very much for watching. I'm going to leave you guys here, and I'll see you next week. Oh, and one last thing, I did have a very special day this week, but some of you may have already noticed the box dotted around the workshop.